In history, the average empire lasts about 250 years. That's about the average time for an empire to last. If you go back in history, right, some of the biggest ones, but I don't want to go back to like too far into BC, but you know, you've got ones like the Babylonian Empire, okay? Okay, the Babylonian Empire was 1894 BC to about 1595 BC, about 298 years. Go back to the British Empire was 414, right? So British was 1583 to 1997. Again, guys, don't forget, in March, for the first time in 600 years, the sun will set on the British Empire. Or in 14 years, right? So these are some of the longer ones. The Byzantine Empire was the fucking banger, right? But French colonial empire, right? This was 1534 to 1814. That's 280 years. So I'm just putting some of the big ones out there, okay? The Gaza Empire, the Gaelic Empire. The Gaelics had an empire. The Ghana had an empire. The Golden Horde, 1240 to 1502. 262 years. So these are some of the longer ones. But if you take them all the way down, right? If you take them all the way down, let me give you an example here, okay? Again, I'm getting into this in a second, but give me. I have a point here. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I have a point here. But I'm just letting you know right now, this page is gonna stay up, and I am gonna spend 6 hours in a rabbit hole tonight, and it's gonna be insane. I already can see what's gonna happen between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. tonight. But yeah, as you go down here, okay, this is just by the, if you do this, but if you go by duration, right? I love what the fuck, the Empire of Vietnam, 5 months. Wait a second, hold up. I'm already gonna do it. All right, but back to what I was saying. So as you can see, the Western Roman Empire, 81 years. Some of the ones that we do know about, you know, but if you take it in the to the average, it comes out to just about 250 years is the average age of an empire. Average length of empires in history. God damn, I remembered that shit right on there, okay? 250 years is the average. And the reason that that's a big deal is that the United States is about to hit 250 years old. Now, I'm not saying that it is the same thing here. Obviously, it is a different world, okay? It is a different world. I don't want to make it seem like I'm sitting here saying, guys, this is the end, okay? It's over. We're, you know, clock's ticking, all right? You know, it's game over, all right? It's game over. And we gotta pack up and move on and join the people who are going to take us over. Obviously not the same thing, okay? But the average age of an empire is 250 years. We're hitting 250, all right? So we're at that average. Now, some people live longer, some are shorter. But the United States, we're not in a position where one country can stay on top forever anymore. And who is going to be the one that takes over? It probably isn't even a country that's here now. It'll probably be some other nation in 50, 100, 200 years, or some league of nations that coalesce to prop one up to be the leader. It's going to happen. The reason that the United States got to be the big power they are is because they're... Okay, this is a bad representation, but you know what I'm saying, right? I'm not going to draw the whole fucking thing here. The reason that the United States got to be the way they were, okay, the reason that they got to be the way they were is because they were so isolated. You have the Pacific here, okay, and you have the Atlantic here. You had some polar bears up here, and you had the French here. That's right, Mexico. Don't forget, you Napoleon III owned you. No, but, so, the thing is that all of the nations that were completely developing overseas, and all the war, all of the disease, right? All of the famines, everything like that, the infighting, the nation, stuff like that was happening in, you know, the Mongols couldn't get here, the Romans couldn't get here, so the Native Americans were just chilling. But once we got to this colonization here, okay, basically Spain came and wiped out all of the competition we had down here. Any chance the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the fucking what's the other one? Inca. There you go. So any chance they had was wiped out. Smallpox came out, right? Spain did it, and then little Portugal came over and was like, we want to do it too, and came into Brazil. And so there was no... So the United States was basically by itself. And in history, nobody could come over here and do anything, right? It wasn't until the 1940s where anything could even get here, right? In a conflict era. And even then, it was so much work and so hard to get over here that they were by themselves. And so everyone else blew themselves up. And because of that, we're just over here being like, all right, cool. We'll pick who we want to do. We'll get involved. We'll do our thing, but we'll come back here. Our country, our infrastructure is completely fine. Post-World War II, everybody blew themselves up. China and Japan and then all of Europe and everything like that. And they all needed to be rebuilt, but they didn't have any factories because they blew each other's factories up. So they all went to the United States and were like, can you rebuild us? Can you send us all the shit we need? And we're like, fuck yeah, we'll do it. So we got an advantage here. Okay, we had a huge advantage. And that allowed us to basically grow and put in place the things we wanted to do. Of course, we saw that South America was starting to, work together. And what did we do? We sent the CIA in and we destabilized their government so they would never be a ground threat to us. And Banana Republic and Iran-Contra and all that bullshit. But this was the advantage the United States had. And so that's why our empire grew out of nothing. Most empires, those nations and those people were there thousands of years before they became an empire. We come out and we just basically are all by ourselves. We beat the French. I am sorry. I forgot to say, it is not the French. You guys build us out for 1776. If it was not for you, we would not be a country. But also, we bailed you out twice or you'd be speaking the German. So you still owe us one on the scorecard. The French, obviously built us out. But the British, we beat them. And then they leave. And we start building our country, and nobody's stopping us. The Brits come back, and we're like, hey, listen, we can actually kick their ass. I don't know let's go back and do this shit. But then Napoleon was like, oui, where are you going, you British pigs? Come back here, I will beat you. And they're like, cheers, governor, we've got to go to the States and retake them. And they're like, they're over here, and they go through Canada, they burn the White House down, yay, good for you. And then Napoleon was like, now I know why you eat spotted dick. You like to have it in your mouth, you dirty. And they're like, oi, you can't say that. And so they pack up and they fucking go back. They're like, all right, let's call a truce. We're fucking out of here. And they go back and then they get together and they beat him, all right? This used to be a stock market channel. This is a stock market channel. I'm literally describing the United States economy and empire, financial empire, and why it is going to fail at some point. Okay, I'm just getting there the long road. So now, again, we're here. And so the only thing in our way is the people who already lived here. And so we come up with this manifest destiny. God said we have to live from sea to shining sea. And there are some brown people with feathers in our way. And it was fucked up and it would happen, but this is what happened. And they massacred a bunch of them and then lied to them and gave them land and then treaties and broke those treaties and then put them all in Oklahoma. And then they became, Oklahoma State fans and they started drinking. But again, that was the only thing in their way. And so the United States just got there out of all of this stuff. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is that this isn't the world anymore. One of the things that made America as strong as it is what's going to be its downfall. And that's the interconnection of the world. And so once the world became so interconnected, it's the ticker for this because we're no longer isolated. The reason that we are so big on the stage is for two reasons. Number one, our military. Teddy Roosevelt famously said, speak quietly, carry a big stick, right? In other words, let your actions talk. Don't run your mouth. Of course, we've come a long way from that, okay? But the military, as long as you have a military that's not only so strong, but also all over the world. We have an empire. The United States has an empire. We won't call it an empire, but we have a bigger empire than the British Empire ever had. We do. We just realized that we can make more money by just leaving our military there and trading with the country than we can by trying to suppress it. We have 900 military bases and operational sites in 180 countries or some shit like that. We have our own empire. That keeps us where we can reach out and touch everybody. It keeps us on the top. But that's also costing us a lot of money. And almost every empire fell because of debasing of currency, inflation, overspending, internal conflict. You see where I'm going with this? That and us screwing over the rest of the world with the reserve currency. We basically, after World War I or World War II, we got them all together and we said, hey guys, we got an issue here. We need to be able to trade around the world and have a single, we can't keep carrying gold bars, right? Can't fucking carry these gold bars and stacks of these and every time you want to borrow money from us, we got to fucking send you, a shipment of gold bars, okay? We can't do that. It's too long, it's too much, it's too whatever like that. We need basically what the Templars did, right? Remember I told you about how the Templars got so rich? They basically set up a fucking treasury in one little town. All right, they built this fucking treasury with this big ass door, and they said, "Hey, listen, you're about to travel from this town to that other town, like a week away. Here's what you're gonna do. We got a shitload of gold over there. You got gold here. Put your gold in our treasury. will give you a promissory note of how much you owe or you're owed. You take that, you know, put a little scroll in there, put it in some sheep bladder and stick it up your ass. That way bandits can't get it. And if bandits attack you and take your stuff, they don't get your gold. Then when you get to the other town, give them this note and they will give you your gold that you're owed. We will take a percentage of it. And that's how the Templars got fucking rich. That's how they got rich. And so the United States was like, everybody was like, hey, we got to find a way of doing this with gold. And the United States was like, you know how like y'all are all blown the fuck up from these wars and y'all are relying on us and all this other shit? You know how we're like isolated and like not at risk of having our gold stolen, like the Romanians trusting the Russians and putting all their gold on a train and sending it to Russia before the Bolsheviks took over? Sorry about that. Yeah, you guys need us. We're gonna use the dollar. But we do. What about that? Shut up, France. Okay, it's twice now. Okay, you always want to shut the fuck up. Okay, I will smoke my cigarette. Fucking cochon. And then the Brits, you know, they're fucking, they can't do anything. The Germans, they can't do it. So basically, the world gets together and says, all right, fuck it. I guess the dollar's gonna be that thing. And boom, there goes the reserve currency. Dollar is the dollar reserve currency. And there is your two reasons that the United States has been an empire. How they got there, we talked about, why they're still there. That's why BRICS, while it has completely fallen apart and was a nothing burger until Trump decided to fucking fuck with India and then make India and China be friends again, something along the lines of BRICS is a concern. Because if the United States loses this, even the petrodollar, but loses this, then they've lost 50% of that financial powerhouse. Military, if for some reason we can't convince people to lend us more money and we can't continue to print, we're going to have to downsize the military. And if that doesn't happen, internal strife can do it. And I don't mean like from like war or shit. I mean just from political fucking fallout and deadlocks and stuff like that. I'm not trying to be that guy, but if history is any indicator, we are in the final stages of the American empire as we know it now. As we know it now, we are in the final stages of the American empire. Now, that doesn't mean America's doomed or America isn't going to be around. I'm just saying that if you look at history and you look at what's going on, the power the United States has held and currently holds right now as compared to the rest of the world, I don't mean it's done. I mean, I'm just saying like the difference between the U.S. and everyone else, right? That gap is going to close. That's all I'm saying. Okay, people are going to take that wrong, saying, Stocky's saying America's going to fail. Buy your beans, bullets, and Band-Aids and get underground, all right? You know, make sure you get your sex robot that's solar power charged so, you know, you can still fuck it when the world ends. No, I'm saying that the gap of how much the United States is in the lead right now is going to shrink. The EU supremacy reigns again. Motherfucker, y'all can't pay your own bills right now. Y'all's money printer is like some fucking Fisher-Price shit. Shut up. Spain's unemployment's at 10%. Your GDP expectation is 1%. Inflation's going up. Everyone's unemployed. Y'all about to have fucking riots and shit. Everyone's fighting. Here's the problem. Remember what I said? You can start getting protest riots and overthrowing a government and stuff like that when you have younger people who are unemployed and don't have something to do. That's a powder keg. And then you give them something to be upset about. Immigration. Boom. Get ready for it. America has the longest living democratic experience. Motherfucker, this isn't about what kind of empire. I'm just talking about the way it is. At least our governments don't shut down. Your governments get dissolved like every 2 years. Sit down, little bro. Y'all motherfuckers are voting to leave each other. Okay? Shut up. We're all in this. We're all in a shit show. This whole like, oh, at least Europe doesn't do this, or at least the United States does it. Motherfucker, we're all in a shit show right now.